Everyone go to Psychic Source and get a reading. Get a reading. Things Psychic Robin said are starting to come true between Shannon and Tamra. She said that they were going to reconcile sometime in November. She don't know. She didn't know the reunion was going to be in November. So uh, I would go to her. She said other things about my life that have come true. So I highly recommend her in the Psychic Source. Code Velvet. Uh, just download it. Type in code Velvet, pay $20 and get a 35-minute reading. But the rat is waddling. We learned her last name was Tamara Sue Waddle. I don't know where I've been for all these seasons, but she waddles, waddle, 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 waddle. Well, look, everyone else in the world has addressed it. Famous people, housewives, people that do what I do. Uh, and we're gonna get to it today. What do I think? What do I think about the rat that scurries? She don't get no Gouda. She don't get no Gouda. Not this season. Not this season. But here I am getting riled up already. But what do I think about her announcement that she is on the spectrum? Well, first of all, things are busy. We do have a wait list here to get on the podcast. And when I say that, I don't just make it up. So I apologize for taking a week to get to this, but you know, I'm honored that everyone in the world has spoken on this. It just doesn't really matter to any of you. You want to hear what I have to think. So thank you. Look, you blurt this out at the end of your podcast, and Teodoro Mellenball. We have a woman on our hands. Her name is Teodoro Mellenball. She didn't know what the hell to say. That Teddy, that former RHOBH woman. She like poor Teddy. She didn't know what to say. Now, you know it's bad if I'm starting the show saying poor Teddy, but listen, I feel if I was going to therapy for a long time and blah, 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 blah. And then I just was speaking to a therapist who said, the golden light has gone off. You're on the spectrum. We figured it all out. First of all, I would have a lot of fucking questions for whatever fucking therapist this was. I don't know. I don't trust somebody that much that I would go to them even for 10 years. I don't even get me started on what I think about therapy and stuff, but to blurt this out and then just to go and say it on a podcast, it would never happen. So this whole thing is very strange to me. I'll be honest with you. Yeah. So I feel, first of all, I feel, since 2020, we all woke up, no pun intended, while we were trapped home during the pandemic. We got all sorts of new things, right? I feel like being on the spectrum to me is the equivalent of like gaslighting. I mean, I think we as a society, a culture, a world have used, I never even heard this word gaslighting. Now, you know, I'm just a lawyer, a CPA, but I'm really just a dumb fucking person at heart. I mean, I got a really high IQ, but like, I just block out so much of the world. I don't want to know anything. I don't want to know anything about anything. I just want to like exist in this little world. And Kim Kardashian wants those Menendez brothers home and their family is speaking out. And poor Bieber is so torn up about Diddy. Just let me live in this world, guys. I don't want to learn words and use big words. I just want to be dumb. I'm a smart person who just wants to be dumb. Really. Teresa Giudice, let me tell you, it's not such a bad thing. Could you imagine? Because the thing is, if you're dumb, you don't look I'm calling all my smart people out there. You guys have people in your life that are, say, less intelligent, right? And how great is that? Like, they don't know. Like, if you're not smart, like, does Teresa know that she's not the sharpest tool in the shed? It's an actual real question because, like, I have a really high IQ. So I'm like so acute and aware, and I'm so good at reading people. Like, when people aren't picking up all this, I got it. I'd love to be Teresa for like just a week. It's got to be peaceful in there, right? It's got to be peaceful. Um, inside that head. So we have this word gaslighting. We've heard this word gaslighting more in the past 4 years since 2020 than we have in the past for decades. So I feel on the spectrum is equivalent to gaslighting and that it is so overused these days. I really do think that, you know, and this one's on the spectrum, that one's on the spectrum. Why don't you call like someone who's like, look, yeah, yeah, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I'm so riled up right now. So someone actually did slip into my DMs to say, oh, this all makes sense now. It's not just Tamara. Teresa's on the spectrum. No, honey, she's just dumb. She ain't on no fucking spectrum, Teresa Giudice. But let's focus here today, okay? So what does it mean to be on the spectrum? Autism spectrum disorder, ASD, and I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert, but let's just go down the rabbit hole. I've spoken to some people who truly have autistic children, and they've given me some notes to discuss, but I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be an expert on this subject, nor do I want to be an expert on this subject. I am an expert on housewives. I don't know how that has become my life's work, but here we are. I'm sitting up at 5:30 in the morning, LA time, in the pitch dark with a ring light on me, talking to all of you. So it's my life's work, guys. I don't know. I didn't ask for this. It just kind of happened. So an autistic spectrum disorder is a neurological and development disorder that affects how people interact with others, communicate, learn, and behave. Mind you, I was reading a bunch of this and I was like, oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think I'm on the spectrum, but I mean, I think anyone could read these traits and say that applies to me. A lot of these traits actually did apply to me, not all of them, but in no world am I going to start saying I'm on the fucking spectrum. I think it is what is the word I'm looking for? I think it is, it's not a good word. I think it is irresponsible. That's it. I think it's irresponsible to, the people like Jenny McCarthy, Jacqueline Lorita that actually have children that are on the spectrum. So I think it's irresponsible. I think it's obnoxious. I think it's an excuse. So, ASD, autistic spectrum disorder, it's a development disorder that is usually discovered in the first 2 years of one's life. Okay. So, however old Tamara is, 56, Kelly Dodd just called her 60. I called Shannon 70. Sometimes we do that when we want to shade somebody. So here are some characteristics. Difficulty making conversation. Now, Tamara has been on this podcast. Okay. I've met Tamara many times in real life. I'm going to have to reissue Tamara's episode. Don't go look for it. I'll just reissue it. Difficulty making conversation. That doesn't seem like Tamara. Difficulty making or maintaining close friendships. Well, when you're a rat that fucking scurries and you treated everyone like shit, you do have difficulty in making friendships.